The Beatles' internal strife started in earnest throughout the second part of the 1960s. The band had unprecedented popularity throughout the decade, but they started to have creative problems and fights when recording their latter albums. The band's cracks began to show during the 1968 recording sessions of The White Album, when each member yearned to leave their mark on the final product. There was a lot of friction during that album, Paul McCartney acknowledged when asked about that period of recording. "The breakup of the Beatles can be heard on that album," John Lennon remarked, adding, "We were just about to break up, and that was tense in itself." Many have pointed to Yoko Ono's presence in the studio and creative disagreements as the main causes of the conflict. Similarly infamously tumultuous were the 1969 recording sessions for Let It Be, albeit the discord had been planted the previous year. A song that was recorded during that time appeared to reflect the band's mood, even though it had a different genesis. A non-album single, Hey Jude, was recorded in July and August of 1968 and released on August 26th. It came out 3 months prior to the White Album, marking the band's debut on their new Apple label. Hey Jude, written by Paul while the personal and professional lives of the Beatles were in turmoil, is credited to Lennon-McCartney. Originally written as a letter to John's son Julian, Hey Jules was an attempt to console Julian following the divorce of his parents, Cynthia and John Lennon. As a result of John's involvement with Yoko, the couple divorced in May 1968. Legend has it that in June of that year, Paul traveled to the Kenwood house of Julian and his mom to see how they were doing, because he was upset that Cynthia was no longer a part of the Beatles' social circle. It got to the point where John was spending more time with Yoko than his long-term creative partner Paul, and they weren't writing together anymore. Paul proposed removing the lyric, "The movement you need is on your shoulder," from Hey Jude, when he showed it to John on July 26th, but John adamantly wanted it retained, saying, "You won't, you know." There is no better line in the song than that. It was John, not Julian, that John thought Paul had written the song about. "If you think about it, Yoko's just come into the picture," he stated in an interview with Playboy in 1980. A few words from him, "Hey Jude, hey John. To you it sounds like a song, but I know I sound like one of those fans who finds meaning in it. Go out and get her," was his way of subtly telling her to leave him. I could see he was actively trying to discourage me from moving on. Several competing explanations were advanced for the song's inspiration, with some speculating that Paul was reflecting on his romantic life or his artistic disagreements with John. In his opinion, many of the song's lyrics do seem directed more at a grown man on the verge of a powerful new love, especially the lines, "You have found her now, go and get her," and "You're waiting for someone to perform with."